When you see that what you thought was a prompting isn't working out, trust God's timing on that.
I don't think we've even scratched the tip of what this world is that's been created that we can explore.
If I didn't leave Cancun, I'm gonna end up in a place that I don't wanna be.
Conversion brings a drive to learn.
Once you realize the Lord is behind it, then all of a sudden that path is pretty light.
I think this is something that will change the church and change the world for the better.
Hello and welcome to Latter-day Profiles. I'm Brian Howard here on the campus of Brigham Young University, Idaho, and joining me today is Eric Browning. Eric, welcome.
Hey, thank you. It's good to be with you, Brian.
Eric's the CEO of FinnFun, and more importantly, he's a graduate of South Fremont High School. Both of us are in in St. Anthony, Idaho, of all places. And,
same year. Even.
The same year, that's right. We used to hang out, do seminary, play a little basketball, those kind of things together.
That's right.
So, good. And you're looking great, which is good.
You're looking better, so that's even better.
Eric, I was looking at, I kind of kept track, we ran into each other. You had moved away and then moved back to Shelley, Idaho, I think, and you were we're at a church meeting, and I turned around and said, hey, there's Eric, and I think actually stake president for my brother as well.
That's right.
So I tracked a little bit, but you've had an interesting career. You've done some cool things. You graduated and went to Utah State. Served a mission. Where'd you serve at, Eric?
I served Spain, Barcelona.
Spain, Barcelona mission.
Yeah.
So you were a Spanish speaker.
I tend to be. I try to be.
Try to be. And then went to Utah State, got your degree there. And let's talk a little bit about your career path and how you ended up where you're at now.
Sure. Well, after I graduated from Utah State, I really had an opportunity to go to work selling, of all things, cookware while I was finishing school. And I was doing that part-time, going to school, was successful. I happened to work with a man who I think is one of the greatest salesmen of all time. His name was Mark Benson. He was Ezra Taft Benson's son at the time. Oh, wow. And he'd been a stake president, mission president, and he really became a mentor to me, following my mission presidents that I had on my mission. And he really taught me, I think, some valuable skills about being positive, about enduring, doing the right things. And I worked for him for a couple of years. And then following that, I got into the high-tech business. So I went to work for WordPerfect Corporation in Utah. I went to Los Angeles, worked for them in sales, was through the Novell acquisition. And then we ended up at Micron in Boise, Idaho, worked there for several years. I helped run one of their divisions there for them on product enhancement, and started a group called Micron Editions. Decided that .com was the place to go. Went to the .com world and was the director of e-commerce for myfamily.com and ancestry.com. And then was recruited by Oracle immediately following that, and worked for Oracle, which is now one of the largest software companies in the world. And then following Oracle, felt impressed to come to Eastern Idaho. I thought, what can I do to, gonna do there? And found a great opportunity with a local business of all places in Rexburg, Idaho, named Policy Tech, and they eventually went public and were sold to a venture firm. And then the time was right, and I began to be the CEO and co-founder of a company called FinnFun. Yeah. And that's kind of where I am now.
Yeah, kind of a whirlwind. Obviously it took a little bit longer, but I remember talking with you, and I think that was a leap. You felt impressed to come back here, but there really wasn't anything set in stone. You're just kind of looking. Tell us about that experience and why you felt that way.
Our life has been a life of experiences of really going on faith and feeling that the Lord is in charge, of course, of our lives. As Elder President Nelson says, the Lord has a lot more planned for us than we do. Yeah. And so when we first left California, we went from California to Boise on faith and prayer and feeling inspired to go there. And it was amazing how well it worked out. So we had that pattern in our life. And once again, just prior to that, we couldn't help but know that we needed to move to Eastern Idaho to be closer to family, but we knew it was time to move. And so I contacted Oracle and said, we're going to move, we're going to leave. And they thought, what are you doing? Why? Why would you leave this opportunity? I thought, I don't know. Why would we leave this opportunity? So we came over here, and the timing was just phenomenal of how we were able to help this wonderful company grow and develop and become an Inc. 5000 company. I was the vice president of sales and marketing for them. And we sold. It was great. So then once again, we saw that the Lord had provided a way for us to move here, and it was, I was called a stake president, and so we think that had something to do with the call to come over. And so we did go on faith, and that was a very challenging thing to put a house up for sale. Yeah. and have people say, so why are you moving? What are you doing? You're going, I don't really know. And my wife is very spiritual, and of course you don't do these things lightly. You have to think through it. You have to be prepared, and we did move forward, and we came here, and we were very successful. But at the same time, that's what got us into FinnFun. So right when we sold that, I guess you want me to tell you about the story of FinnFun?
Absolutely. It's good insight. So FinnFun, people might not know what it is, although it's an international company at this point, so many people may have heard of it. Give us a thumbnail of what it is, and let's talk about how it got started.
Okay, so let me share it. Anytime you want me to be quiet, just tell me.
No, we're here to talk to you. So.
Okay, Brian. So right after we were going through the new kind of the merger acquisition by the new company called Navex Global, they're probably the largest global compliance software company in the world, and they were giving me an opportunity to continue with them in a very good senior level role. And my parents, these are the salt of the earth, the best people you'll ever meet. Both attended Rick's, BYU, Idaho in the day, and they have tried throughout their life. You might remember back in the day they had a furniture store out south of town, and they were always trying to do something to help make a living for a large family of 7 children. And so years passed, the businesses passed, and my mother, Karen, is always an entrepreneur at heart, and her granddaughter, Emily, came to her one day and said, Grandma, I really want to be a mermaid. And I have an idea, as I've worked with my friends and others, I think I've got an idea of how to make, maybe a mermaid tail. And so her grandma and my mother decided looking, and she made this little simple, sparkle fabric tail, and her granddaughter took it home, and lo and behold, it was the hit of the neighborhood. Yeah. And so she gets an idea, being the entrepreneur she is, and my dad as well said, let's put this on eBay. And that was in 2010. And they put it on eBay and started FinnFun. And, it's one of those American dreams, because you've got a retired couple that are doing everything they can to make a living. And they're faithful people. And it's starting to grow, and they're starting to sell, 1, 2, 3, 4 a day, and all of a sudden they've got 7 seamstresses, their grandmas that are neighbors that are sewing, and my mom's putting all the orders down on her notebook, and my dad is packaging the product up and taking it to the post office, and each day he brings a little bit more and a little bit more. And they did this for about a year. And one of the things they always wanted to do was to serve an LDS mission. And unfortunately, due to my mother's health and kind of financially, they really just couldn't pull it off yet. And then they realized they could do it. They felt that my mom's health had improved, and they could do it. And so what was such a lesson to me, and the kind of parents I have, is they said, well, let's take this growing business and let's put it on mothballs, and let's give it to our son Curtis, and he's working full time, but he'll do it out of his basement. And so they started doing that, and it was in that moment that they're ready to enter the MTC. It was July 1st, I think it was, 2012. That really the Spirit came to me and said, Eric, I've got a plan for you. And I want you to quit your job, and I want you to buy into this company with your brother, and you're going to help grow this FinnFun business. And so I thought about it, contacted my brother. In 1 week's time, we put together the deal. We sent our parents off, and our hope was that we would never have them have to work again. That when they'd come back, that it would be running, and it would be a little more automated than it was at the time. And so they headed out on their mission. And we headed up to the busiest, probably toughest time of my life of working 20-hour days, trying to retrofit and make a business right size. And, it just kind of went boom. Yeah. We developed various product lines and became FinnFun.com. When we created the #1 selling mermaid tail, that today we're in the Inc. 500, number 119 fastest growing company. We're actually the Small Business Persons of the Year for the state of Idaho, and which is the greatest honor we're in the United States small business. We're the Small Business of the Month for the entire United States of America. We had the chance just last 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, to go back and meet with Mike Pence, Vice President Pence, and met with him, and they encouraged us and said, just keep going, keep doing what you need to do. And so over that time, it's been really a fun ride. We've had many of our family members have been involved in the business. and many others that have made it what it is. I don't say it's what I've been able to do. It's been what others have been able to do. And to that reason, we've had 3,000% growth in over a 3-year period of time.
Yeah, stunning, stunning. Eric Browning, CEO of FinnFun. We do this on radio. I want to make sure those folks know who we're talking to as well.
Thank you.
So what's it like working with family? Because I know you and your brother Steve, of course, I know from high school as well, is a good guy. A lot of people say, oh, don't ever work with family. What's the experience been like for you?
It's really interesting you say that, because the previous business before we started FinnFun, I had always heard, do not ever work with family, because you can really ruin long-lasting relationships, and you really have to weigh that and be very considerate about that. Also, you can't become complacent where you basically give people jobs. Yeah. Now, I have to say that I got a good education from the Teijins that live here in Rexburg that founded this Policy Tech, and I saw a family really make it work. They held people accountable, they brought in talent where it made sense, and where it didn't make sense, they didn't bring their family in. So Steve and I, we actually are, if you put us on a scale of one being analytical, the other being more marketing sales, Steve's on the extreme there and I'm on the other extreme. And so it was a perfect complement even to begin with. We had complementary talents and abilities, and we always grew up together, so we knew each other's strengths and weaknesses. And then really, I think we took that same accountability to our family. And so today, out of my parents' 7 children, 5 of their children are involved in the business, either their parents or their children directly. But what's unique, and why I feel it's always the hand of the Lord that directs everything we do, is that every one of them had the unique skill sets that we needed at the time. For example, my brother-in-law was the operational director of Overstock.com. Well, that helps in an e-commerce business.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
My other brother-in-law helped consult and manage with Sony, and so we brought in not just anybody. We brought people into the business that could really help us grow the business.
I'm wondering about Steve. You said you had a real spiritual experience that brought you here. What about Steve? Did he have something going on at the same time?
Steve lived in Seattle. He had his own practice in Seattle, and he felt impressed to move here as well a couple of years after me, and he came, and so everything was lined up. Everything was perfectly situated to where we could start working together. We had gained experience. We had saved. We were in a financial situation to take a risk, and I think that's very important in any business, that you act when you're able and capable to do so. And I think that was a great advantage that we had to allow us to really start to grow it and not to be worried about every, penny. We had the ability to invest in the right resources to get us where we needed to go.
And speaking of that, resources, you're now a resource for a lot of people, providing jobs, right?
Yeah.
What's it feel like to be able to add employees and give them a place to work?
It feels wonderful. One of the things that I had a goal is that when we would come, that the day would come where Idaho Falls area would know FinnFun. And now it's nice that I just had someone call the other day. I needed to set an appointment. She said, okay, where are you at? And I was trying to explain it. And I said, well, we're FinnFun. She goes, FinnFun? Oh, I know exactly where you are. And, it's really satisfying as I come into a parking lot to see that there are literally, 70 cars in the parking lot that are all working for FinnFun, off of an idea of a grandma and off of the faith and movement of people that decide to help it start. Yeah. That's a great satisfaction. And then in addition to that, we also employ, through our contractors and fulfillment house, another 130 people. So it's over 200 people now that have jobs, and literally over 500 individuals that are influenced by our company.
I've never had that situation, but I think partly you must feel some responsibility, right? Because now they've got jobs they're kind of relying on to continue on. What's that like to feel that responsibility?
Pressure. It's a lot of pressure. We as a business evolve, and we have to evolve. Any business will evolve. You'll have the waves that take you, and that set is how do we grow and how do we just stay up? How do we keep up with it? And then you begin to get competitors, and these competitors are stealing your ideas and following your different things that you're doing. And so you're trying to differentiate, and you're trying to protect your assets. And we've got companies now, I guess, if imitation is the greatest form of flattery, we're really flattered. We've shipped to over 180 countries. We have many competitors in the United States. We have many, many more overseas, China, and what they're trying to do. So there's constant pressure, there's constant ebb and flow. So you're forced to continue to move into different facets of a business and make strategic decisions that would best protect our business going forward. So yes, Brian, you're right. It is wonderful, but it is also a great responsibility.
Yeah. At the same time, so you're able to help out with a lot of charitable type things.
Yeah. You know, when we started a business, the first thing that we did is we said, you know, a business must be more than making money. It is about giving back. And we have really met that. One of our mottos has been, everyone deserves to dream. And we do believe that that's true. And so for that, from the very beginning, we've given a significant portion of our resources to charitable causes. We've given to over 18 organizations, and most of those are children's causes that we help. And it's a great feeling to see what we were able to do. In fact, we've just recently given to the Girl Up program, which is the United Nations Girl Up, that really promotes girls in other countries having opportunity. We're right now working on a thing with Make-A-Wish Foundation to do a big swim event. It's called Swim for Wishes. That's going to be here in the Rexburg pool that will take place in June. So we're constantly trying to find ways to give back. It gave me a chance to work with the Humanitarian Center. I was part of the founding of the Humanitarian Center under the direction of Elder Kim B. Clark, a former president of BYU, Idaho. He had a great idea. He worked with various state presidents at the time, and together we helped bring about, I think, a wonderful cause where over 60,000 items are built each year for various charitable organizations. And so it's really amazing what happens when you get someone who has a vision, who has a goal, and it's good. What can happen when other people begin to buy into that vision? And so we've seen that not only through FinnFun, but we've seen that through the charities and the other organizations we've partnered with over the last 5 years.
Eric Browning, CEO of FinnFun, you talked about having to continue to grow a business. You went from mermaid tails primarily to a lot of other things. Tell us a little bit about how you come up with ideas and some of the product line, and hopefully no one will steal the ideas, but they're already out there.
I can't tell you the secrets, but I can tell you the other things we've developed already. One of the first things we did is after my parents finished it, we created a monofin, which is a flipper that really gives the magic to the mermaid tail. It makes it so that the kids don't even, they look like a mermaid in the pool, but they literally can swim like one. They can swim twice as fast as another kid can.
That's cool.
And we made it so it was real, safe, so a child or anyone could pull it off their feet very quickly, and that was very important to us. So then it naturally goes into other categories and other areas. We have a multi-million-dollar line of swimwear now. We do. We have we offer shark fins for the boys that are fun. We offer anything in the pool related category. And now we've also branched into the mermaid blankets, which became the big, huge rave in last Christmas. And we're pretty proud that we're some of these innovators of products now that you can see everywhere around the world. And so I'll let you know this. We are launching a new product line this summer. It's called Wild Things. It's a new blanket line that is animal characters that kids can get in and play. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I loved to play shark, chasing my sister around the pool. That's what I call creative play. And it gets them off the iPad for a minute, Now we're creating blankets that keep them warm, but it allows them to be creative. It allows them to be a grizzly bear and sneak up on their, little sister or their dad, and so it's a fun little blanket that kind of is a dress-up blanket play, and that's going to be launched the end of the summer. We've got it all ready to go.
So when you trying to come up with ideas, is this one you're constantly thinking about it, or hey, everybody gather around the table, let's start figuring this out?
Well, we're lucky enough now. We actually have I have several graphic designers. We have a research and development team. I mean, we have teams of people that's what they get paid to do, is do that. But we do believe in. I believe in Elder Ballard's counseling, and councils. I really think it's always better if you can counsel together and bring ideas together. They spawn other ideas. So yes, they're working in isolation to a certain extent, but then they come forward, and the vision and the direction, we work together.
I know, I don't know what you expected when you started, but the international thing always puts a wrench in things because it's different. You're dealing with a lot of other things. How has that impacted, and what kind of, internationally, what kind of things are we looking at there? What kind of countries, and what's been the acceptance?
Boy, have we learned a lot internationally. Let me see if I can give you a couple of ideas that helped us internationally. So internationally, we have shipped our product to over 180 countries.
Wow.
You think about that, that's a lot of countries. But there are certain countries that are better than others and are a little more advanced than others. And so what we've learned about others is the challenges with, of course, copyrights and patents and those kind of things, just because people in those countries can quickly steal ideas. And so we've become very, very diligent about that. The second part of that is just the responsibility and the challenges of getting your product to and fro. So we're large enough that we're dealing with international imports, exports, all those various things. And so there's a lot of complexity that gets wrapped around that. Duties, tariffs, taxes, reporting, registering in countries. I mean, it just continues to kind of expand. And so you can understand that while you're excited about the international growth, along with that comes a whole load of administration and accounting responsibilities. And so any organization that wants to go internationally in any large extent needs to think pretty hard about that before they do it. And that's why a lot of companies say, thanks, but no thanks. The wonderful thing about the United States of America is it alone, as a nation, is the largest economy in the world. And the state of California is the largest economy, bigger than Australia or Canada.
Yeah.
So we're really blessed to have our number one market be the United States.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Eric, I want to talk. We got a couple minutes left. By the time this airs, you will be serving as a mission president.
Oh.
Tell us about that and how that came about.
Well, it's interesting in how the Lord again guides and directs our lives, and I was feeling this impression that things were going to be changing, and lo and behold, on one October day, right after conference, I received a phone call, and as I looked at that phone call, I looked at the numbers, an 801 number, and I was serving as a stake president. And certainly I'm not unaccustomed to getting a call from the church or anyone else, but I had a distinct impression that it was to be a mission president. I knew it. But I was training 5 new employees. I was talking about our background. I was doing like this with them. And so I put the phone down, and I just took a deep breath. And I just couldn't even think for a minute. And then all of a sudden, 3 minutes later, I get a phone call from my wife. And I said, I've got to pick this phone up. And I answered, and she said, it's Elder Holland's office. They'd like to speak to you. And that's when my life changed. And while it wasn't guaranteed I'd be mission president, that's when I began to feel that the calling was going to come. And so they asked me, what would happen if? Would you be able to leave your business? And of course, there wasn't even a question that, of course, the Lord's given us everything. And why wouldn't I leave it just as others leave their nets? I'll leave my net if that's to be said. And to me, it's a culmination, I think, and to me a tender mercy, using Elder Bednar's words, that you have the beginning was caused, really the reason we're here is because of a mission. And my parents felt impressed to serve a mission. And now, here we are, the small business of the month for the entire United States, and I'm leaving this next month to serve a mission. The same time frame as my parents. And I just think to me that's that tender kind of wink by the Lord saying, you do my will, things will work out. They'll work out differently than you may expect, but they'll work out better than you could expect. And so because of that, I'm thrilled to serve, and I'm looking forward to serving with my wonderful brothers and sisters in the Arizona Tucson mission. And so I want to put a plug for any senior couples that are thinking about it out there to come and visit us. We would love to have you join us.
The weather's good.
The weather's good. The weather's great. And that warm sun is good for your joints, for your bones. It's all good.
Eric, as we wrap up, if I had to leave you a compliment, I've known you for a long time back in high school. It doesn't surprise me at all because you're the kind of guy that I can exactly see doing that. You've always been just an awesome person. So
well, I'll pay you later, Brian.
always looked up to you, and so I really appreciate all you're doing and the success you've had with FinnFun, and know you'll be a great mission president. So I'm very excited for you. So just thanks so much for coming, and wish you all the best as a mission president and also with the bishop. So thanks so much, Eric.
Hey, thank you, Brian. My privilege. Thanks for having me.